Hey everyone, welcome back to Wix. I hope you're having a fantastic day. In today's video, we're going to be redesigning Brittany Chiang's website here in Editor X. I think this website looks really cool. I guess she's like a developer and her website looks really techy and really code-like, and I think it's just really cool. So in today's video, we are going to be redesigning this here in Editor X. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, as usual, I've already designed the header and footer because I like to keep these videos somewhat short. But if you do want to see me design headers and footers, let me know in the comments below, or you can check out some of our older web design videos in Editor X to see how we build those. But let's go ahead and get started. So for this first section here, of course, I want to make sure it's our dark blue color, and we'll go ahead and give us some room to work with. Maybe we'll set this to like 80 VH. That way we can make sure that the content we put here is basically taking up the entire screen. Great. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and add some text. So I'm just going to drag out some text right here. We'll make sure that this text is our green color, and we'll change this text to "Hi, my name is," just like that. Then we'll go ahead and grab a heading 1 text, just like this. We'll put it right underneath this one right here. And we'll type in her name with a period at the end. And then we'll change the color to this bright blue. Then let's copy and paste this one. We'll bring it underneath. And we'll change this text to "I build things for the web." And we'll change this font color to maybe something a little bit darker. Okay. Then she has a paragraph field underneath that. So we'll go ahead and bring this out right here. Just like that. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. And what I'm going to do is just go ahead and copy the stuff from her website. I'm going to paste it in here. And we're going to change the color over to this dark grayish blue. We'll bring it down a little bit. And for this one right here, she has this green color, so we'll do that. Perfect. And then lastly, she has a button here. So we'll just go ahead and copy and paste this right here. Put it right underneath. We'll make it a little bit longer, a little bit taller, and we'll change the text to "Check out my course." Okay, then we'll grab each one of these elements. We'll stack them. And then with these right here, we're gonna send them to the left and remove the margins, or align them to the left and remove the margins, just like that. And then we're gonna grab the stack itself and just make sure it's simply centered here on the page for us. Maybe we can up the section to 90 VH. And with the stack selected, maybe we can add like 60 pixels of margin to the bottom. Just like that. I think that looks really good. Now the next section that she has on her website is a little bit about her. So we're gonna go ahead and add a section. Let's give us some room to work with. We'll make it like 900 pixels for now. And we'll also, of course, make the background color the dark blue. Perfect. In here, what I want to do is go ahead and add a container. I'm going to go ahead and remove the background color. For the width of this container, I want to maybe set this to be like 50%, something like that. We'll send it to the top and middle, and maybe it will give us 900 pixels of space to work with. In here, I want to give us a 2x2 grid, just like that. For this right column, I maybe want to set this to like 0.8. Is a little bit better. And we'll also add like a 40 pixel gap in between the top and the bottom, just like that. Great. Now, what I want to do is add a container over here in the top left. We'll send this to the top left. Make sure it's set to 100%. Then what we're going to do is add a 3x1 grid here. And what I want to do is basically just copy this 01 text and I'm going to paste it here in this container. We'll make sure it's over here, send it to the top left. Great. Then I'm going to grab this about text. I'm going to paste it here. We'll put it in the middle column. We'll send this one to the top left, and we'll make this say about me. And then finally in this last column, we'll add a line. We'll set this to be 100%. Send it to the left middle. And actually, let's go ahead and make all of these left middle. Just like that. For this line, I kind of want this to be mid-gray, bluish, and we'll lower the opacity to like 30%. Then with this container selected, we'll remove the background color. We'll add like a 10 pixel gap. And what I want to do is come over here to this column. We'll say, set this to minimum content. We'll do the same thing for this middle column. And we want this to be set to 100%. It may be with like 100 pixels, just like that. I think that looks really good. Now for the height of this, maybe we can do something like 50 pixels. And we'll have to do that over here as well. We'll just set this to minimum content, just like that. So now what I want to do is with the main container, we're going to select this first row and we'll set this to minimum content. For this second row, let's go ahead and give us a little bit more room to work with. And over here in the right column, I just want to have the picture of her. So we'll go to media and we'll just drag this one out. We'll set this to be 100%. And we'll send it to the top left, just like that. Now she has some text here. So what I'm going to do is actually just grab this text right here. And now if we take a look at her website right here, she has a paragraph text here, and she also has this little area down here as well. So to complete something like this, what we're going to do is add a grid. We can go ahead and stretch the grid and remove the background color. And we're going to give us a 2x1 or 1x2 grid here with like a 20 pixel vertical gap. Now, what I want to do with the paragraph is I'm just going to copy this text right here and I'm going to paste it in here. Make sure it's centered, or make sure it's sent to the top left and set to 100% width. And what I'm going to do is just go ahead and copy this text from her website. And I'm going to make all of the text elements that she has on her page the green. So the next thing I want to do in here is add another grid. So we'll add a container. We'll make sure it fits here in this bottom little thing right here. We'll add a 2x1 grid to this with like a 40 pixel horizontal gap, and we'll remove the background color. Great. So now what I need to do is go ahead and add another container. I'm going to set this to have 0% opacity and to 100%. We'll send it to the top left. And we'll add another 2x1 grid here with maybe like a 5 pixel gap here. In this left column, we're going to add the little arrow icon here. Let's go ahead and set this to be like 30 pixels. 30 pixels. Something like this might be a little too big, so let's do 2020. For now, I think that's fine. So we'll send it to the left middle. Then with the container selected, what we're going to do is grab the first column and set this to minimum content. Now, let me just go ahead and grab this text element right here. And we're going to paste it in here in this right column. Send it to the middle left, and we'll set it to be 100%. And we're going to go ahead and change the text. And we'll make it a little bit smaller. And we'll change the color to match this above. Okay. So now we're going to grab this container. We're going to remove the height here. We're going to go to rows and set this height to minimum content, just like that. Perfect. And now we can go ahead and grab this container. Let's go ahead and copy it. Just like that. We'll put it in the left grid cell, left, middle, and we'll set it to be 100% width. Just like that. Next, we'll go ahead and do the same thing. This one we'll send to the left bottom. Make sure it's 100%, perfect. And we can go ahead and change out the text. So the last thing I want to do is go ahead and grab each one of these containers. And if you're having trouble doing that, what we can do is just come over here into the layers panel. We'll grab each of these and say stack, perfect. Then what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and copy this and we're gonna paste it over here in this right column. Just like this. We'll make sure it's in the right column. We'll send it to the top left, set it to 100%. Then we'll copy and paste it again. This one, we'll send it to the top middle. We'll copy and paste it again. And the final one will be the top bottom or left bottom. And we'll go ahead and change out the text here as well. Then what we're going to do is go ahead and select the main container, and we'll give us like 150 pixels on the top and bottom. Of course, we can switch this over to responsive values if we would like, which we should. And then with the main container, we can go ahead and remove the height, just like that. So now we have this section right here, and it looks really good. And we can go ahead and move on to the second one. We'll go ahead and add a new section, just like before. We want to make sure that we set our color to the dark blue. And we'll give ourselves some room to work with, maybe like 900 pixels. Let's add a container here. So we'll go to quick add container. This container, we need to remove the background opacity. Let's set this to be like 45% for now. And we'll make it a little bit bigger. Let's center this and send it to the top. With this, I want there to be a 1x2 grid here. And what I want to do is actually go ahead and grab this container right here. And I'm just going to paste it in the top section here. We'll send it to the top left. This text is going to be 02. And this text right here is going to say where I've worked. And of course, with this text element, we need the minimum width to maybe be like 200 pixels, something like that. And with the main container, maybe we'll set this to be like 75% width, just so that the line is a little bit longer. Perfect. Now we'll go ahead and grab the main container with the row, the first row, and set this to minimum content. And we'll also add like a 50 pixel gap in between the top row and the bottom row. Now with this bottom row, I want to make it a little bit taller, so we have room to work with. And here, what I would like to do is actually add a container. Let's go ahead and stretch it. Let's go ahead and add a 2x1 grid here with a 40 pixel gap in between. And for this first row, let's go ahead and set it to like 0.5 FR, something small like that, or maybe even a little bit smaller, maybe 0.3. And we'll also go ahead and remove the background color. Perfect. In this left column, let's add another container. We'll stretch it. And what we need to do in here is actually add 6 columns and 2 rows. So we'll do other. We want 6 columns, or no, 2 columns and 6 rows. I apologize. Confused myself a little bit. And what I want to do here in this left column is this one's just going to be for the lines. So I'm going to come over to add, decorative. we're going to go to vertical lines, and we're just going to drag one of these out here, just like that. Now, what I would like to do first, before we even edit the design, is come over to the grid. We'll set this to be cover all grid sizes. For the height, we want this to be 100%. We also want this to be aligned to the left and middle, just like that. Now, if we come over to the design, we want this to be kind of like a dark gray or a dark blue, but not as dark as the background, of course. And just for now, I'm going to go ahead and remove the background color from the container just so we can see what it looks like. I think this line right here looks pretty good. So now I'm going to come over into the layers panel. I'm going to grab the line. I'm going to duplicate it. Now with this line, I want it to be the green. And I also want this to be just in the top one right here, the top grid. And we'll send it to the top left, just like that. So I think that looks really good. Now I'm going to select this grid right here. Let's add like a 10 pixel gap. Maybe we'll do 20 pixel gap. And then we're going to select this first column and we'll set this to minimum content. Just like that. So now we have space to put in our text. I'm actually just going to grab this text right here. I'm going to paste it into this column. Right here. We'll center it, send it to the left, and make it 100%. And with this text, we'll go ahead and change it. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste that for each one of these rows. Okay, great. Now, realistically, you would probably want to use a multi-state box here rather than just kind of building it out on the page. But for the sake of the video, I'm not really going to be doing that because I don't plan to code anything. But if you do want to learn how to do this with multi-state boxes and code, then I highly suggest you check out some of our other videos, which I can have them linked in the description. But for now, we can go ahead and start working on this right side. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and copy this text right here. And I'm going to paste it into this right column right here. We're going to send it to the top left. Let's go ahead and set this to be 100%. And we'll change the text here. And for this text, we'll make it this text color right here. We'll make it a little bit lighter for this part. And then for this company name, we'll go ahead and make it the bright green color, just like that. And also let's go ahead and make it a little bit bigger here as well, because it is the title. So we'll do that. Great. The next thing I want to do is copy this text right here. We'll paste it in here. We'll send it to the left and maybe we'll bring it down just a little bit. And we'll set the width to 100%. And we'll change the text just like that. And maybe with the text color, we can make it a little bit brighter. And one thing I did forget to do is actually make this text right here green because it is the active one. Looks a little bit better like that. And now what we need to do is create something similar that we did up here. So what I'm going to do is just copy this. I'm going to bring it down here. I'm going to paste it in here. I'm going to send it over to the left and I'm going to put it right underneath the text for the date. Okay. And we're also going to set this to be 100%. I'm going to go ahead and copy over the text from this one. Okay. And with this image, I want to make sure that we actually align it to the left and top, just like that, for this one in particular. Then we'll copy this container, send it to the left, and bring it down just a little bit. And we'll go ahead and copy over the text from the website again and paste it in here. And then I'm going to copy this container one more time. We'll paste it in here, bring it to the left and bring it right underneath. And once again, I'll copy the text from the website. I'll go ahead and paste it in here just like that. So now what I would like to do is go ahead and grab this container, kind of make it like even spacing. And then what we're going to do is grab each one of these elements here and we'll press stack. So now with this container selected, we can go ahead and set the height to be minimum content. We'll go ahead and grab the main container and do the same exact thing. So we'll set the height to none. We'll set this row to minimum content. And then we'll also give us 150 pixel margin on the top and bottom. And with the section, we'll remove the height. And now we are done with number 2. Okay, now we only have about 2 sections left. So what we're going to do is add another section. We're going to make it, let's give us like a lot of room to work with this one. This one's going to be, oops, meant to do 2000 pixels. This one's going to be kind of long. So what we're going to do is go ahead and make the color the dark blue. Let's go ahead and add a container here. With this container, let's go ahead and remove the background color. Send it to the top middle. We'll set the width to be like 70%. Ooh, maybe not that big, maybe like 60%. And let's also give us a lot of room to work with in here as well. For this one, I do want there to be, we're gonna have 1 column, but we're gonna have 4 rows, just like that. In between each of the rows, I kind of want there to be like a 60 pixel gap. In this top section, we're just gonna copy this container here. And we're just gonna paste in this text. We'll send it to the top left. We'll make sure it's in the top row. Send it to the top left. And of course, what we're gonna do is change out the content here. So this one's gonna be number 3. And we'll change this to things I've built, just like that. And then for this first row, we can go ahead and set this to be minimum content. Now for this section right here, let's add a container. Let's go ahead and stretch it. Let's go ahead and give it a 2x1 grid. In this left column, let's add an image. So we'll go to media and we'll choose this one right here. Put it here in the left column. Set it to be 100%. And we'll make sure it's centered. The next thing I would like to do is go ahead and add some content over here to the left. So we're gonna add, I'm gonna come all the way up here to the top. I'm gonna grab this text right here, bring it down, and we're gonna paste it in here. Let's go ahead and set this to be 100%. We'll send it to the left and we'll move it up quite a bit. We don't need it that low. For this text, we'll go ahead and align it to the right. And we'll change the text to featured content, or featured project, I should say. Okay. I'm also going to go ahead and grab, let's say, this text element right here. I'm going to paste this one in as well. We're going to remove the minimum content. Just set it to be 100%. Align it to the left and bring it right underneath featured project. And we'll align this one to the right as well. Okay, with this text, we'll make it a little bit bigger. Maybe we can do something like 32. I think that looks good. And for now, let's also just go ahead and remove the background color for the container because it's a little distracting for me. Now what I would like to do is add another container here. We'll set this container to be like this color here. We'll set it to be 100% width. And we'll send it to the left, just like that. Inside this container, I want there to be some text. So let's just go ahead and grab this paragraph right here. We'll paste it in. We want this to be like 90% width, which it already is. We'll send it to the middle and we'll go ahead and align it to the left. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy the text over from the website. And this needs to be a little bit lighter color, just like that. And I'll go ahead and change the text out here. That needs to be green. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and grab this text element right here and maybe set a 20 pixel margin on top and bottom. Then with this container, we'll go ahead and remove the height, just like that. And once again, we'll move it right here. And with the container, let's go ahead and add a slight corner. So let's add like 4, just like that. And this needs to overlap a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and grab this image here. And let's go ahead and set this to be like 120 pixels. We'll align it to the left, just like that. I think that looks really good. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do is copy this text element here. We'll paste it right underneath. Once again, we'll align it to the left. Set maybe be like 80% width. And I'm gonna go ahead and change the text here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and right align this text and maybe change the color to something a little bit lighter. Fantastic, and then we'll go ahead and put it right underneath this little paragraph text. And the last thing we're gonna add here is this little screenshot I took of the icons on the website. Now, realistically, you'd probably want to grab a container and put individual icons in there. But again, for the sake of the videos, I don't want to bore you guys too much. So we're just taking a screenshot just to show it visually. We're gonna grab each one of these elements, stack them, and then we're gonna send it to the center, just like that. Then with this container, we're gonna set the row to minimum content, just like that. Then with the main container, we're also going to set this row to minimum content, just like that. So here we have this one right here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and copy this container and I'm going to paste it into this one below. I'm going to send it to the middle. We'll make sure it's in the right one and then we'll stretch it. And then we're also going to copy it down here as well. So we'll go ahead and paste this one down here and we'll stretch it. Okay, so with this bottom one down here, we just need to change out the content real quick. And just for simplicity, I'm just going to change the image. I'll also just change the name. Okay, so this one's going to look good. For this one, we actually need to flip this. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and select the stack. We're going to align all the items to the left. And we'll also do that for this text here as well. Line it to the left. Just like that. And we need to send this one over to the left column. So we'll do that. Then we'll grab this image. We'll align this to the left over here, or to the right column. We'll send it to the right side of the column and we'll set the width to be 120%. And we'll change out the image. And we'll call this one Spotify profile. So now what I would like to do is go ahead and select the container. We'll select the main container and we'll set all of the row heights to minimum content. Just like that. And what I'm gonna do is grab this container right here and add like 100 pixel of margin on the top and bottom. Just like that, just to give us a little bit more space in between the projects. Or the last thing I want to do with this section is remove the minimum height, just like that. And now we only have one final section to do. So what we're going to do is add a section. We'll make it blank. We'll go ahead and set the background color to the dark blue again. Let's give us like 900 pixels to work with here. Of course, we want to add a container. We'll make sure that this container is sent to the top middle. Let's go ahead and set this to be 60% width again. And we'll give us like 900 pixels to work with inside of it and remove the background color. Perfect. For this one, we're going to set a 1x2 grid here. And what I want to do is just go ahead and grab these two text elements. We'll copy them and I'll paste them in here. Okay. I'm going to grab both of these, send them to the top, or send them to the middle. For this one, it's going to say note worthy projects. For this one, I'm going to center it and put right underneath it. And I'm going to say view the archive. And we're going to make sure that this text is centered here as well. I'll grab both of these, press stack. Then what I want to do is go ahead and just send this one straight to the top. We'll grab the container. We'll set like a 60 pixel gap here. And then for this row, we'll set this to minimum content. Perfect. For this second row down here, I do want us to have a little bit more room to work with for now. And I'm going to go ahead and add a repeater in here. For this repeater, we'll set it to be 100%. Send it to the top, middle. And for each one of these, I do want there to be like a dark blue color. Not as dark as the background, but still dark blue. I also want to add a slightly rounded corner. So we'll do something like 4 pixels. We'll come over to the repeater settings. And we'll add like a 15 pixel gap. For the height, let's go ahead and set this to be like 450 pixels for now. That's probably going to change here pretty soon, but let's go ahead and add a container inside of it. We'll make it like 90% width, maybe even with 90% height, just for simplicity. We'll send it to the top middle. Let's go ahead and give us a 1x3 grid here. And we'll also add like 30 pixel gap here, just like that, and remove the background color. Okay. In this top section or top row, let's add another container. We'll stretch it and give us 1x2 grid here. Perfect. In this container, on the left side, I want to add this image right here. We'll set this over to fixed and we'll set it to be like 45-45. Maybe even a little bit bigger, maybe 60x60. And we'll send it to the left middle. Okay. On the right side, I want to add this image right here. Let's go ahead and set this to be like, set it to like 50%. Send it to the left middle. Okay. Next, we'll grab this container and we will set this row to minimum content. Then we'll grab this container. We'll set this to minimum content and remove the background color. And for this background, I do want it to be the same color as this. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and grab this color. And then we'll grab the item itself and change the background to this color. Just like that. Perfect. And now what I want to do for this middle section here in the grid is we're going to grab this text right here. Let's just go ahead and paste it in here. Set it to 100%, make sure it's in the middle, send it to the top left. For the text itself, we're gonna align it to the left and make it a lot smaller. So maybe we'll do like 18 pixels. Then what we're going to do is grab this text right here. We're going to paste it right below it. Make sure it's in the right one. Set it to be 100% width. Align it to the left. And we'll grab both of these elements. We'll press stack just like that. And then with the main container, let's go ahead and grab the row. We'll set this to minimum content, and we'll set the max to minimum content here as well. And last but not least, we have one last area or thing to put in here. So we'll go ahead and press copy and paste. Want this to be 100% with no minimum width. Send it to the top left. For this text, we don't want it to be that big. We'll do like 13 pixels, and we'll make sure it's aligned to the left, just like that. And now with this final row, we'll go and set this everything to minimum content. Now with this item itself, let's go ahead and just mess around with it. Try to find a good height. I think 350 looks pretty good. And the last thing I want to do is maybe add a little negative margin here. Maybe like 20 pixels, negative 15 pixels. I think that looks pretty good. And now we'll grab the master container. We'll set this to be minimum content. We'll do the same thing for the container itself. We'll also need to add like 200 pixels of margin to the top, make sure it's responsive. And now we're basically done with the website. However, if we look over here, we also have, you know, this thing right over here to the left and this thing over here to the right. So let me go ahead and build that for you as well. So what we're going to do is go ahead and add a container, of course. Let's go and align it with the logo, just like this. Okay. Then what I want to do is add a 1x2 grid here. We'll make it a little bit larger. And inside of this, what I want to do is add a vertical lines in the bottom half. So what we're going to do is just drag this one out, put it over here. We'll send it to the top middle, and we'll set it to be 100%. And we should also probably remove the color from the container. And I'm going to change the color of this line to a different color. With the grid selected, I'm also going to go ahead and add like a 30 pixel gap here. In this top container, let's go ahead and add the icons, which again, I'm just using an image for now, but you would probably want to use something more like a container with separate icons inside of it. Just like that. So we'll make sure it's in the top row. We'll set the width to be 100% and we'll align it to the bottom middle. Great. So now with this container selected, what I'm going to do is copy and paste it. I'm going to bring this one over here to the right, and I kind of want to align it with the button right here. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and remove the icons. I'm just going to grab this text right here. Let's just paste it, and we'll just say fakeemail.com. Okay. Let's drag it over here. Let's set this to a fixed size, and let's just bring it in really small. Let's also go ahead and rotate it 90 degrees. And we'll place it inside this container, just like that. But we'll make sure it's centered and at the bottom. And we'll remove the bottom margin. And for some reason, it's acting all funny. But what we're going to go ahead and do is grab this container. And what we're going to do is go ahead and say position type pinned. And we're going to pin it to the page. But what we want to do is actually pin it to the bottom of the page, just like that. Okay. And we'll also go ahead and set this to be viewport width as well. Great. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing with this one over here. We're going to attach it to the bottom left. Left is going to be viewport and bottom is going to be negative. And we're also going to set the position type to pinned to page. So once again, here's what it's going to do. And let's go ahead and preview the website. And here is our website for Brittany Chiang. And that's basically going to wrap it up for today's video. If you all did enjoy, please consider giving this video a like and consider subscribing for more Wix and Editor X content coming out really soon. Thank you all again, and I'll see you all in the next one.